UFC 323 was a great way to end off the pay-per-views for 2025, especially considering the UFC has now moved away from the pay-per-view model in light of, the new relationship with Paramount, the new deal they signed with Paramount. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was was it a seven. Uh, it was a multi-billion-dollar deal, if I'm not wrong, right? Might be chatting shit when I say that, but fact check me if I'm wrong. Nonetheless, it was definitely a big deal that they struck with Paramount, and this essentially closes off their relationship, at least for the time being, with ESPN. So, with all that context taken into account, this was an excellent pay per view, and as fans of the sport, I don't think there was much room for complaining. Starting off the main card, we had Blahovic versus Bogdan Guskov, and I actually picked. Now I didn't release my picks for this card, but I've got them on Verdict MMA, right, the app, and I'm gonna put up the screenshot, hopefully around now, of who I picked. So the receipts are there, okay, and I picked Blahovic. I picked him to win. I can't remember how I picked him to win. Actually, it might have been by decision. And it ended up being a draw. He got caught in the second round with a big shot by Guskov, which sent him to the canvas. And the judges ruled that by majority a 10-8. And Blahovic won, obviously, the first and the last round, which culminated in the majority draw. Honestly, given Blahovic's age, overall age, and the fact that he's been in the sport for a long time, it was good to see that he still had the skills and he won the third round. I mean, after a knockdown, typically it's usually signaling the end of a fight. Like once you see a knockdown, they're very likely to then go on to lose that fight. But he bounced back in the third round and put it back on him, on Guskov. Sucked to see he didn't get the win. I would have been 5-0 on the main card if he did, but it was a good performance nonetheless, and it was a fun fight. Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbot. I picked Talbot to win, and I think I picked him to win by I think it was probably a KO. I think on this one, he won by decision, and his ground game was looking very good. Has he improved his ground game given his previous loss to Hamdi Barcelos? Yes, he has. But I also do think Cejudo is just not the fighter that he once was. His grappling just isn't what it once was either. I know he has that Olympic pedigree, but I am of the belief, and there are many others as well in this space that are of the belief that the American wrestlers just are sort of lagging behind maybe, other wrestlers from other regions of the world, such as the Caucasus region. And the fighters that are coming out of there, their wrestling pedigree is just a lot more effective in the MMA game. So I'm not really surprised. Cejudo showed he was a dog in this fight. He kind of stuck with it, but yeah, I mean, pretty much one-way traffic for the most part. And Peyton Talbot won the decision victory. Moving on up now, the last three fights was what I was really, really interested in. I was really interested in these fights. Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. I'm super high on Tatsuro Taira. I picked him to win. Now I picked him to win by decision actually, because I thought Moreno was a bit of a dog. He's a crafty vet. He's a crafty dog. And I thought he was gonna take those shots that Taira was gonna hit him with, and just it would be one way traffic. I thought for the most part, but I thought Moreno would just stay in there, get bloodied up. Similar to the Cejudo Talbot performance, I thought Cejudo would have been, in this case, Moreno, and then Talbot would have been the up and comer. In this case, it would be Taylor, right? But he was able to get the knockout. Um, Taylor's good, man. I like Taylor. He's got great striking. He's got awesome striking, and I love his grappling skills. He's got a very unique skill set in grappling. I love how he gets the back takes. It's such a unique style in the way he grabs the back, the way he stays on the back, and the way he stays on the back to then advance position as well. We saw it against was it Alex Perez where he just blasted the knee of Perez because of the takedown from the back position where he was like leaned off to the side, and then it caused Perez to put an excessive amount of weight on one side on one of his legs, and then that caused a knee to just bust open. Basically, I thought that was very, very. I mean, it was crazy to watch, and I think it just clearly demonstrates the skill set of Taylor and a unique skill set at that as well. He has his own style when it comes to the grappling, and I'm not surprised. The Japanese, right? I don't think people don't really talk about this too much. I mean, everyone talks about American wrestling, American grappling. People talk about the Caucasus as well, and not many people though are talking about the Japanese. Listen, I mean, we saw the fight between Kyogi Horiguchi versus Takeru Bekov, and in that fight we saw Kyogi Horiguchi get the better of the grappling in some exchanges. And I know Takeru Bekov is not exactly the best example here. He's not exactly a top contender, but the point is the Japanese do have a history of effective grappling and expertise in grappling. These are the guys that started judo, they started jiu-jitsu, I believe, and then you had the Brazilians come out with their own style of jiu-jitsu, right? But it all really started from the Japanese, man. Big up to the Japanese. And listen, Dana White is he's got a cheeky grin on his face right now. He can't wait to go to Japan. Dana White is notorious, right, for saying in press conferences, "I don't announce fights in countries. I don't announce title fights." But in this press conference, for some reason, he was announcing how he already had a conversation with people in Japan about getting venues booked already for Taylor versus presumably the Joshua Van, which I'm going to get to. I'm going to get to his fight in a second. So I thought that was very interesting. Obviously, Dana is just loyal to his bottom line, right? Whatever's going to line his pockets, whatever's going to make the UFC bigger, whatever's going to, you know, making more money. That's what he's loyal to, and I get it. He's a businessman. That's what you're gonna get, right? But I just thought it was ironic and just yeah, completely contradictory from what we usually see of him. But it was a great performance by Tara, and I'm looking forward to his title fight, which I think he's gonna be up for the title next anyway. Dana White all but said that basically. I think, or might have even explicitly said that. Now that I think about it, Pantoja versus Joshua Van, not really a fight. Pantoja tried to, release his leg from the grip of Joshua Van. He did kind of like I'm not sure what you call it. What do you call it? Like a mat? Is it called a mat return? He kind of, planted his arm, his hand onto the mat. In this case, not really the mat, but the canvas. And obviously, his weight was on his arm, and then his elbow just gives out. Apparently, they're all running on the fact that his shoulder was what gave out, which I think is really interesting. I don't know who was it. I mean, his elbow clearly was out. His shoulder could have been out as well, but why did they not mention that? At least the fact that his elbow was out as well. It was really weird. Like Dana was just going on the fact that it was only his elbow that was presumably out, his shoulder, sorry, but clearly looked like his elbow was as well. It was really strange to see. Wouldn't be surprised if they rigged the canvas in favor of Joshua Van. They really want the Asian audience. I guess in their eyes, Pantoja isn't a big enough star to kind of keep around. They kind of just basically Pantoja is water under the bridge at this point, and it sucks to see because he really was cementing himself as the greatest featherweight, the greatest featherweight. What we're talking about, the greatest flyweight of all time, and now the UFC head honchos have just forgotten about him. He's gonna come back like at least a year older, and in the flyweight division, that's not going to go well for you. So I don't think Panto has got much of a future left, to be honest with you. But that's a separate conversation we can have now. up until now, basically the last 4 fights on the main card, I got them all correct. I didn't expect the draw in the Blachowicz fight, but the rest of them I got correct, and I picked Piotr Yan. I picked him by decision. Listen, you guys don't know how to pick fights, man. That's all I'm gonna say. I picked a plus 370 underdog. Listen, give me my flower. Listen, I'm gonna show the screenshot, right, as you're watching this video. I have receipts that I picked Piotr Yan to win, and I picked him to win by decision. And I'll tell you why, right? Rob isn't really skilled, man. He's just really not skilled. I think Marab is the type of fighter where if you're very good yourself, if you're elite in your skills yourself, and you fought him once, you can fight him again in a rematch, and you'll probably win in a rematch. One more thing I want to say. I know I didn't release like a UFC 323 analysis or breakdown, but I was talking to people, right? And when I was speaking about this fight, I was saying how you have to take the grappling to him, and that's exactly what Piotr Yan did. He took the grappling to him because Marab's grappling isn't actually like the best. Like he's good, he's very very good, but it's not the best. There are people in the division who skill for skill are better grapplers, and Piotr Yan is one of them. And we saw that he was taking him down, and he had a bit of control, didn't he? Um, it's not really showing like the control time or anything, but he did have a bit of control time, right? It wasn't anything like crazy, but the point is, he took the grappling to him in key moments to kind of stop the pressure of Marab, and that's all you have to do. I was literally saying that to people. I was saying how Piotr Yan is the more skilled grappler. He just has to take it to him to stop the momentum of Marab, because Marab is not skilled otherwise. Let's be honest, he's not really. And like I know, like recency bias sets in, and it's it's one of those things. Oh, Marab and his cardio, and he's been tearing through people. I mean, come on, skill for skill, he's just not as skilled. And in hindsight, right? I know hindsight's 2020, but clearly Piotr Yan was compromised in the first fight. I think his hand was clearly broken, and now I'm also thinking Umar Magomedov. He said his hand was broken as well, which I'm now inclined to believe as well. And I think in a rematch he would probably also beat Marab. Now, do I think Umar Magomedov is as good as Piotr Yan? My intuition is to say Piotr Yan has got the edge. To be honest with you, but it would be an interesting fight, right? Nonetheless. And yeah, honestly, I'm just hyped that I picked Piotr Yan, man. And again, I'm gonna show the evidence. I'm gonna show the receipts. But it was pretty much just Piotr Yan outskilling Dvalishvili in the striking. Definitely in the striking. He was definitely out. He was just his shots were so effective on the feet against Dvalishvili, and the body work was really good. He had that body kick in the later rounds. Was it round 4? Was it? Which clearly just sapped the energy and the gas tank of Marab. It was so good. I was literally saying that to people as well. There was two things I was really running on when I was talking to people about this fight. It was Piotr Yan needs to take the wrestling to Marab, and he needs to involve the body work as well. And he did those two things, and he won. The other thing I didn't really see coming, and I think MMA Guru spoke about this, was the elbows to the forearm. Um, I didn't see that coming, but that I think that was also another addition as well in Piotr Jan's uh, toolbox, and it was effective as well. Imagine getting elbowed, heavy ass elbows into the forearm isn't exactly like the thickest bone, isn't the thickest limb in your body, right? If it's constantly just getting elbowed, your grappling is going to be hindered as well, and that's obviously Marab's game, right? So he uses grappling and pressure to wear out his opponent. And yeah, Piotr Yan just had a superior game plan, basically. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but against Marab in the first fight, I don't think he had his corner with him, or was that a different fight? You guys can correct me on that, but there was a one fight he had where he didn't have his corner with him, and I think it was the Marab fight in the first one. So good to see Piotr Yan back on top, and the reason why is because he's had it tough, man. Piotr Yan has to be one of the most has to be the most unluckiest fighter in the UFC by far. He had that knee against Aljamain, which I know was his fault. He threw the knee. But I'm sure if he knew if it was illegal, he wouldn't have thrown it in that moment in time. But he did anyway. And that cost him the title. And then Aljamain wins like a super, super close decision. I think if they did like a trilogy or something with Aljamain, I think Piotr Jan mops the floor with him, personally. I think the first fight just kind of demotivated and demoralized Jan. Then he lost 2 in a row. And then I think he had the 3rd fight against Morale, which he lost, right? No, he had the O'Malley fight, right? Yeah, he had the O'Malley fight and lost that. And I think by then he was, like, super demoralized, and then he fought Morale, and then he lost that as well. I think he lost, like, 4, right? Like, out of 5 or something. And the Morale one was, like, his only real loss. But, hey, he had a broken hand, and I believe that. Sometimes excuses are legit, they're real, and, they actually do hinder you in fights. So you gotta take them on a case-by-case basis. But I thought it was an awesome card. A great way to end off the year. I'm looking forward to January. January is gonna be awesome. The Gagey Pimblet fight is gonna be amazing to look forward to as a fan. There's gonna be a lot to talk about as well, as far as, how Armin fits into the picture. Dana White is going on about how Harmon has to still work his way up, but there's literally no one available to fight. Oliveira is booked. BSD is booked. Freaking Taporia sitting out. Gage is booked. Pimblet is booked. Hooker is booked, right? It's Hooker and BSD. Who is he supposed to fight? It's just crazy to me that the fact that Dana said that. But there's gonna be a lot to talk about then. This closes out my analysis for UFC 323. Like I said, I've got the receipts for picking Piotr Yan. No one in the MMA YouTube scene picked Piotr Yan. I don't think anyone picked him. I think I'm the only one. I'm a nobody, but freaking hell, man. If this doesn't get me a little bit of fame, I don't know what will. But let me know your guys' thoughts on what I've said so far. I'll talk to you guys next time.